from both our presidential candidates and the candidates for activities officer. I'd like to remind you that we are live on Twitter with the hashtags #BathSUelects and #BathQ2C. If you would like to submit any questions for the candidates, please do so over Twitter or send a piece of paper forward to the front. But please be aware that we do have lots of areas to cover this evening and lots of candidates to speak to. Whilst we'll try to ask as many as possible, I'd also really encourage you to speak to the candidates on the parade, ask your questions, maybe post them on their Facebook pages so they're in the public domain, email them, tweet them, send them a letter by carrier pigeon, I don't know what, but ask them questions and get in contact with them. I'd also like to remind everyone that we are a no swearing hustings, so that would be great. So first of all, each candidate is going to get 30 seconds to introduce themselves, and we're going to start with Jeff.
Hi, my name's Jeff. I'm obviously running for president. My policies are focused on housing, the housing crisis. I don't think it's unfair to call it a crisis. A lot of students do feel like it's a crisis. Mental health and combating mental health issues on campus is another one of my key policies. And thirdly, transparency. I think we all deserve to know where our 9K is going. Thank you.
Already competitive there. All right. Hi, my name is Jason Saldana. Sorry, my manifesto is not on the bath impact. I was a bit late. My main issues I'm targeting are definitely discussion forums. I think we need more discussion forums to discuss what the problems with all our people are. To raise your voices, that's my slogan. To be your voice, Jason is your choice. It's also to get a 24-hour food service and sleeping pods for university. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Yuk Chopar. I'm doing politics and international relations. And so you already talked about student voice and the forums. So what I wanted to say is about that the SU did a really great job this year. So me and my team really try to work on improvement and innovation this year. That's what we want to bring on if we are elected. We want to work on innovation. So yeah, that's it.
Good evening. Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name's Ben. I am the current education officer, and I'm running to be your next SU president because I really care about the student experience. So I've worked really hard this year to secure wins that matter to you. I'd love for this to continue. Oh God, I forgot what I was going to say now. Yeah, so basically, I'm a strong, knowledgeable voice. I'm not afraid of a challenge. So tomorrow, make sure when you vote at 2 o'clock, you believe in Ben. Thanks.
Okay, so the first question for you all is, as you know, accommodation pressures in the city of Bath are rising. If you were to be at a one-to-one with Glynis and the VC put to you a question and a proposal that she was going to build a mini accommodation village in Trowbridge, would you support this proposal? And why?
I don't know why there's so much silence, but I think housing is a big problem we have. I know many of my friends who are living with others in their accommodations. Trowbridge is far off. I understand the point there. But if accommodations are available in Trowbridge, why should people travel to Bristol or Cirencester when they can go to Trowbridge? I think I'll support that. If it's a building of accommodations, definitely yes.
I think, yes, of course. We have to be realistic about it. And if the price is right, if it's £300 a month, yeah, I'd happily stay in Trowbridge. And I feel like a lot of students would feel the same way, particularly those come October who won't have a house. I think they'd be all for a little mini accommodation centre in Trowbridge.
So realistically, there's not a huge amount that we can actually do with housing in Bath. Accommodation and space just is at an all-time low. So essentially, building places in Trowbridge is where we need to go. Investment in these kind of student communities outside of Bath just has to happen. They can't just expect students to go out there, live on their own with nothing around. So they need kind of accommodation, shops, student bars, things like that. But another problem with that is the travel that students have to go through. So if it's a train or a bus dedicated services, there needs to be some kind of subsidy provided for students as well.
So I would agree with everyone, but I would accentuate the point on logistic. If we ask students to live further away from the university or John Wood, as lots of students are, I think we really need to insist and build a real project to know about logistic, what we're going to give them, how they're going to travel from their places, as you say, train and buses. We really, like, if I agree on this, I really want to make sure that everything will be made and provided for the student, and make sure that they are not disadvantaged from other students who live on campus.
Okay, do you think we should continue to be affiliated with the NUS? Why or why not?
Sorry, I'm starting always. I think there's pros and cons to both. For me, there are all these no platform policy, the new Peter Tatchell, I think, the racism comment on them. NUS, on the same hand, does support the university a lot, with the training and support. There's a lot of students who are working for the NUS as well, who get support from it. But there's always fee to be affiliated to an NUS. Personally, for me, if the NUS is so left-wing, I think we need to be campaigning against to make it more, who will take our voices forward. And if it doesn't, I think we need to be de-affiliated.
So is that a yes or a no as to whether you think we should be?
We shouldn't be. That's what I meant.
Oh, hello. Yes, I absolutely agree that we should still remain in the NUS. Compared to the amount of money that we actually spend is only about 45 grand, and from that we get a huge amount of benefit from it. So all our delegates get training, all our SU officers get training as to all the different things that they need to do within their jobs. A big thing that a lot of you may be aware of is the drinks and stuff in the bar. So we get huge discounts from national suppliers rather than having to go about those deals locally. Yes, there are obviously issues with NUS at the moment, or the infighting is not great. They need to get back onto actual student issues. Yes, so absolutely remaining. In terms of the funding as well, so the way the SU is actually funded, we get a block grant from our university. So if we're not going to be part of NUS anymore, there's nothing to stop the university just taking that money away, so we don't actually get any added benefit for that extra cash.
I would say the same thing. I would remain on the NUS. I believe in cooperation, and I think that the NUS provide a really good basis for student rights, and we have lots of norms and values that are provided by the NUS, which is the reason why we need to stay in. And even if I don't think that the SU would get away from all the norms and values, but it's a strong point, and it's a strong insurance for our student to stay in the NUS.
I think that we should stay in the NUS. I don't like their militant left-wing policies. I don't like, not policies, but people talking from that kind of thing. I don't like the way they screech about a lot of the stuff that they want to get through. But it's a giant organisation that has a lot of benefits, and a lot of benefits that Bath can use to our advantage. I mean, Ben obviously knows a lot more. Training delegates, being represented on a national level. Those are all things that are really quite important, and I think going, oh no, I don't like the NUS because of X, Y, Z, is a bit immature on it.
Okay, so moving on. If elected as president, how would you strike the balance of maintaining the strong working relationship that the Students' Union has with the university, but also challenge the VC and her senior management team on issues such as pay inequality and rising student fees?
Can I?
Yeah.
I think that with the VC, one interesting point is like we need to give her different choices, different opportunities. If we say that this option is not right or this one should be improved, we should, as a president, I would work on really hard to make sure that we have a strong and a strong advocacy to make sure that we can advocate for another project and make sure the goal is not to get in on the other way, okay, going against diversity, but the point is to be able of building a strong case that could be affordable and could be negotiable. So.
I think the VC and the senior management team, and probably a lot of the faculty as well, are a little bit out of touch with students. I mean, when they went to university, it was a lot different from when we go to university, get 3K to live on when housing's 4K, and pay 9K tuition fees. I mean, I doubt they could even spell tuition fees when they were 20. yeah, that kind of needs updating, and they need to kind of have a better understanding of what it's like for us on the ground, the students, but it obviously needs to be done in a respectful way. I mean, Lucy's sat here. You've got to have a good relationship with the VC. All four of us can sit here and come out with insert word, but you've got to have like a good, strong working relationship with the Vice-Chancellor if you want to get anything done when you're SU President.
So the university do respect us as officers and students in our opinion. We sit on so many university committees, we basically sit on almost all of them. So they are not going to just ignore us if we go against some of their views. For example, the NSS boycott that's going on at the moment, yes, we are challenging the senior management with regards to that, but they're still going to take into account our opinions at the end of the day. In terms of the Vice-Chancellor, so you know, in the past we have been accused of being a bit too close to senior management team and the university. However, you know, we have challenged them. For example, last week in court, we had a vote about transparency in the Vice-Chancellor's pay, and going to court and having it noted with concern that, you know, the Vice-Chancellor's pay and inequality within pay. So we do a lot of work kind of behind closed doors, and that's how the SU tends to work. We don't, you know, have big kind of protests outside the Vice-Chancellor's office, because a lot of the time that doesn't really work. So we're different to trade unions in that regard. So we do things, we work closely with senior management team to create positive change rather than, you know, going around shouting out as loud as we can and not actually affecting anything at all.
Probably sometimes, you know, protesting is not the right issue. But then if things aren't done, I think there needs to be clarified. Not saying that protests are the only way. Personally, I think the transparency of the fees and the pay is very important for us to get more in infrastructure, or, you know, get more investment involved in student activities. And yeah, probably I would personally have more strong opinions from the SU, go more, involve more and engage more with the VC and the senior management than it already is.
Okay, on to everybody's favourite topic of buses now. We now have a 24-hour services to more areas of the city than ever before, free Wi-Fi, charging points. So what realistically could you do to make the bus services even better?
So the buses changing this year has kind of confused a couple of people with kind of routes and stuff, and the ridding of the U10 has affected some students living kind of outside your normal places, such as Oldfield Park and in town as well. So one of the realistic things that I think we can do is the the U2 service only runs until 10 o'clock at the moment. Genuinely think it can run until midnight for those outside, like kind of outside Oldfield Park and town. So get that to run until midnight, and in the next year, potentially even 24/7 as well.
I would go further than this. My point is, like, for example, as a student, and I am still, today when I wanted to go on campus, I had to wait for 30 minutes. So what we can say is interesting. I think that we really need to focus on the U2 and U1 for Wessex, for first. The point is, like, there is only one bus pass, so we don't have the choice to choose between all the services of first and just U1, U2, and if we want and if we need another line that could allow us to go back if we live in Oldfield. So I would try to negotiate for more choice about bus passes, because we don't really need to use all the first bus services. So it could be useful to find something cheaper. And then I really want, when we say that the bus services have been better because of the Wi-Fi, etc. For my part, and as I discussed with lots of people, we rather prefer to be in 10 minutes on campus rather than to have the Wi-Fi inside the bus. So I would work more on the timetables of the buses and less on the services they provide inside the 10 to 20, 15 minutes of service. Thank you.
Right. I think the SU personally has done a great job in putting the 24-hour bus service for U1. I being the fourth year student, I remember first year, 7:30, get there, 20 minutes was a very small amount. Is a very small amount now. We had to wait for an hour to get a bus. I think it's great. But then 17 services, I think 17 and 18 services, they're not 24/7 right now. Most of the people who have bus passes for 17 and 18 need those 24/7 bus services. If one of those buses go for 24/7, that'll be great. U2 services especially, I think the other side of Bath, where many students live in, Odd Down and wherever, they don't have access to those areas. I think U2 needs to be, should have a better service and work better on weekends as well.
Echoing what Jason said, in my 3 years at uni, the buses have changed dramatically and mostly for the better. But with the housing crisis as it is, I don't mean to keep bringing that up and banging on about it, but students are living in parts of Bath that they might not necessarily have lived in before. Odd Down was mentioned. I lived there last year. Lovely, quiet, but a bit far. I mean, 40-minute cycle, 40-minute bus, something like that. And buses like the 20A and the 20C go there and don't run maybe as often as the U1, the U2.
Okay, so you're all seeming to agree with each other, like for quite a lot of these points. So let's throw a bit of a curveball in here and make things interesting. Let's say you had to get rid of one of the services or one of the provisions or central core activities that the Students' Union currently runs. Which one do you get rid of and why?
Probably the 20A and C. I'm about to explain, Luce, don't worry.
The Students' Union.
Oh, I thought you just
Not the bus services. An activity or a service or a provision that the Students' Union provides. So do you get rid of advice and representation? Do you get rid of the bar? Do you get rid of sports clubs? Which one and why?
Get rid of class and score. Like most of us sat here are at least second years and haven't been there in a good long time. There are other alternatives.
Get fuzzy ducks back.
Yeah.
So I think the service that we can probably get rid of is the development part. So we've moved that off onto Manvers Street, but a lot of the stuff they do within there are skills training, and there's been a big skills review recently across the university. So Academic Skills Centre, SALC, the Foreign Languages Centre, all these kind of different skills providers, and there's quite often a repetition of skills from what the SU do to also what the university provide as well. So it's almost kind of not needed in a sense, or those kind of services can be moved onto the university.
Removing something, there's so many good things in this uni. I won't think about something else. I would think about the lime tree.
No, something that belongs to the Students' Union. I appreciate the charm, but let's see what you want to get rid of.
I was agreeing with score in class. It was the 2, 3, 4 time. It was really good. And if I need to delete something, that would be the first thing. If I had the occasion to improve it, I will.
I think I only said fuzzy ducks there. So I think I wouldn't remove anything, personally.
I'm going to push you for an answer, Jason.
Sorry?
I'm going to push you for an answer.
If that's the case, then I think we should remove the big board with all the names of the SU officers put there, just to show off. I think everyone should know who it is.
Okay, so as you're all agreeing with each other, I'm going to try and differentiate you still. You all mentioned transparency in your manifestos, but I imagine you all have different ideas regarding this. So what do you think could be done better in regards to transparency?
I see transparency as a 2-part problem. 1, the student body's not communicating with the university or the SU to the levels that are needed. And 2, we want to know where our fees are going. Yeah, that's a big one I need to drop in. 9K a year, that's obviously tuition fees doesn't make up all of the university's revenue. It clearly doesn't make up all of its expenditure either, but it'd be quite nice to know where that's being spent on. In terms of solutions for the other part, like we live in a digital age, it's not hard to communicate with people, it's just hard to get them to engage. There's an SU president's blog, I think that could be good. Maybe even video blogging, just my week with Jev. Just tell everyone what I've done in the SU for the week. This isn't... I'm done.
Wow. So with transparency, I see it as kind of, again, 2 similar parts. First one is about fees breakdowns. So both fees for kind of first first, second, and final year students, and also placement fees as well. So a lot of people don't understand where their placement fees are going. You pay £1,800 pounds when you're out on placement. Most people are like, what is that about? So that goes towards kind of training beforehand, placement providers, placement officers when they come out to show your visits. So a kind of breakdown of all our different fees, where the income's going, where the expenditure's going. So Exeter provide those kind of breakdowns, so why shouldn't our university as well? So the second part of that as well is value for money. So we're spending £9,000, current students are, next year it's going to be 9,250 for incoming students. What additional benefit are we getting for that money? We're still paying for printing, we're still paying for materials, what else is the university going to provide?
I'm sorry, I would agree on this. The point about transparency is just when you pay 9K, it's expensive. And it's about information, how we give the information on the website, how we show people in percentages with graphs, how we make sure that the information is accessible. This one I want to improve on. First, get the data, and then make sure that everyone in a clear website can find this information, because it's matter. I don't want to see my student as only one client. They pay and the only thing they have to do is go away if they are not satisfied. I want to see them as an investment. I want to make sure that they invest in the future, and investing in the future is starting first by telling them where their money is going.
I think I would see this as more of an experience point of view, because we students come to university for a great experience. Definitely all those points are very essential, especially the transparency in fees. But I think as an SU, we need to be more transparent. We need to tell our students what we do. I don't think half our students know there are so many opportunities, great opportunities available from the SU. So we need to be more transparent how the SU works, and why is it for the students that we work for. Definitely fees and everything is important. I think this is important as well.
Okay, so which current national issue is of most importance to each of you?
Current national issue? I would say Brexit for my part, because I consider myself as international. And one of my policies, working closer with the ISA, because I think that international students sometimes can be isolated because they have difficulties with socialization. And working closer with the ISA, who provides different talks, different events, karaoke, bar crawl, I think it's really important to make sure that all international students don't feel left apart. For first the Brexit, even if the university is not part of this decision, I want to make sure that they are taking part and they feel welcome and included inside our university.
For me, it's the Snoopers Charter. I don't mind the Tories. Didn't really like May when she was Home Secretary. I thought she's quite authoritarian. And trying to push through legislation where they can effectively spy on all our digital communications, I think that's setting us down a very slippery slope. And that's not the way I'd like to see Britain go.
So just to be different, the one that I'm kind of most involved in is the Higher Education and Research Bill that has gone through the House of Commons and is going through the House of Lords at the moment. So this is in relation to, get your bingo cards ready, the TEF. So this is the Teaching Excellence Framework, and it's all about fees, it's all about measuring teaching quality at an institution. So this is done in some really kind of random metrics, from student satisfaction to employability data and retention rates. Now, employability and retention rates don't necessarily show teaching quality. So people drop out of university for a variety of reasons. I've never thought of dropping out of university because my lecturers are pretty crap. And with the employability one, a lot of students here at Bath do placements. So a lot of them tend to get graduate offers from those placements, not because the teaching quality is fantastic. And so this, again, kind of relates to value for money. So the university are almost certainly going to get a gold rating from the TEF. So this will mean they can increase their fees fully in line with inflation. So it's going to keep going up each year after year.
Well, Brexit is kind of a problem for me as well, being an international student. But I think one of the things I heard from the news is the disability allowance going down for the disability students. If that's going to happen, I think we need to work for it. It's very important that our disability students get the allowance and get the benefits that they deserve. I think that's one thing I'll be working for.
Okay, how would you aid the development of the media groups in the SU?
Media group is important in a way that they provide activities, they give more information, and from what is interesting is from the student perspective. The first thing I would like to do by aiding them is giving them real objectives. When I say what we can do here for mediating the debate and all the presidency, I think it's a good thing. I want to go further by making sure that, for example, get more mediation of our sports society when there is a game, or I want to work with them to make sure to know the best way to talk with students, because they are the one who knows, they're the one who's doing it. So aiding them first will give them more objectives, more goals to achieve for the SU and for the student.
Do you not already think they have goals and objectives that they want to achieve?
I deeply think that we can go further on this.
Right. I think media in Bath is doing good. I think they can do great. And I think media plays a very important part in all our roles, all our lives. Just see how Donald Trump won. Media, trolling, he won. I think for me personally, I think media should be involved with societies. We have millions of events that go on. There was a Viet-Soc event happened last week. We could have a great coverage of that event from the media. Media gets publicity from it, and the event gets covered as well. We can keep track of all our events that happen through the media. And also, there are great film festivals, and for Bath Impact, there are article festivals. There's so many festivals and competitions that go on. I think we should represent our media in those competitions so that we can get a name for ourselves.
So I'll tackle kind of two of the media groups. The first one is URB. Currently, a lot of their equipment has been broken, so we need to get some more investment and kind of go back to just it being simple. So in previous years, station managers have kind of tampered with it a little bit, and I think there's only one or two people who actually know how to fix URB at the moment. So in terms of Bath Impact, I think we should kind of move a lot of the stuff online now. There's a lot of papers, sorry Marianne, a lot of the papers just aren't being read, and they've got massive stacks of them in the Bath Impact office. I'm not in the media office, I'm sat here. But what I think we should do is make media like a bigger voice, so Bath Impact a bigger voice. So at the moment, a lot of you probably don't get your information from media and Bath Impact and CTV and all that kind of stuff. Whereas it'd be good to get like a lot more kind of comms going through there, a lot more involvement from the SU officers, doing radio shows, writing more articles in Bath Impact, because I think only Adam and Lucy may have written one this year. Oh, and Will, sorry. So a lot more involvement from SABs, and it's not necessarily just the president's remit, it should have as big a SU officer involvement as possible.
I'd flip this question and ask the few of them that are in the room, what does media need, to thrive? Is it more funding? If it's that, we'll try and sort it. If it's engagement with the students, we'll also try and sort that. If it's just more people viewing it, there's ways we can do that. There's campuses around TV. There's no reason, as previous candidates have said, that student media can't cover everything, and that could be people's first port of call with what's going on in Bath.
Okay, I've got one last group question for you, and then we're going to move on to an individual question each. And to this last group question, I want one word answer. Do you think it's more important to be a strong leader or a team player?
Team player.
That's 2 words.
It's a hyphenated word. Leader or team player?
Team player.
Team player.
I'm going to be disappointed. Team player.
Okay. So we're on to the individual questions now. And first up, we've got Hugh. So you mentioned the idea in your manifesto of introducing an SU general meeting. Union Council, a very similar model, has been tried many times before and has failed. What makes you think you can do it differently?
I don't want to do it differently. The only thing I want to do is give the opportunity to students who still need it. And during the preparation of my manifesto, I've met lots of people who have lots of issues to bring in that they're facing. And even if there is only 10 people attending to this meeting, I want these 10 people to, I want to hear them and listen to them, and I want to make sure that they are heard. This is the first thing. Not that much attendance is not for me a fact. It's not for me a reason to close the General Assembly. This is why I want to bring it back. The second thing is we talked about transparency and communication. In those student General Assembly, I want the SU to report of what they've done, and it's a clear way to do it. The SU officers go in the lecture, if we do it in the lecture, and just state what they've done since a month. And if there is not that much attendance, we can do a Facebook Live like this. Even if people doesn't attend at this meeting, they have the opportunity to know what's going on. There is more communication. The people are more listened, and even if it's 10 people, this 10 people has issues that can concern more students than only just one.
Out of interest, have you been along to any of our Questions to Officers events that we've started this year, which was an opportunity that I've introduced for all of the SU officers to give updates and also for general members of the student body to ask questions?
I haven't been there for the only thing that I don't have that much issue personally.
Okay.
But I think it's a great idea. I never said that it was a wrong idea. I think we should improve. Again, you did a really great job this year, and I think this is the reason why we need to innovate and improve what we're doing. So
Okay.
a General Assembly will be the improvement of what you tried to do.
Questions to Officers, stage 2. Okay, move on to Ben. You want to introduce reward cards and a loyalty scheme, but typically for this to happen, prices are initially increased to cover the later costs. Is this in the best interest of students and money and their budgets?
So I don't necessarily think it has to increase. So I'll kind of tackle this in 3 parts of where we can get some extra funding. So the bar makes a surplus every single year. There is so much money that kind of is made from the bar that we need to then reinvest. So this goes into our reserves and it kind of just sits there until we kind of have a big kind of capital project. So there's money there that we can get. Second one is again related to fees. So we're getting an extra £250 per student from next year. So the university, why can't that go back into our block grant? So even more money for us. And the third one is about a potential staff member. So a staff member who work in marketing whose specific role is to go out and get sponsorship from kind of local and national businesses or partners and things like that, to get some more money for those kind of things.
And where's the budget for that staff member going to come from?
Again, kind of reserves and the surplus that we're getting.
Okay. Jason, you say in your manifesto that you'll push for construction of more houses. Can you outline where these will be, who's going to do it, and who's going to pay for it?
We had a discussion on this 2 days ago, I think. I know university is building new accommodation next to Polden Court, I think. Thanks for the first question. I think I will get my answer from there. Trowbridge. There are places close to Bath which haven't been explored yet. There's a lot of construction place there. I think that's where it will be. Construction price. I think the university, with so much money that comes in through £9,000 of all the UK and EU students and £20,000 from international students, needs that transparency where they can invest in for the students. Where I've seen first-year students struggle, sometimes to stay in the town and come all the way up in their first year when they are just trying to adjust. So yes, it is places a bit far away from Bath with the right bus services, obviously, with the money from the students.
Okay. And Jev, your more free stuff policy states you would waive the current £300 fee for visiting companies, provided they bring freebies for students. Now, I've worked here for a while, and pretty much every single company that comes into the Students' Union brings freebies already. So what benefit will this policy have at all? Surely this will just see less money going into the Students' Union and not being able to improve the student experience.
Not at all. I mean, quite a lot of them have freebies, memory sticks, water bottles, stuff like that. A lot of them don't. Those paintballing people who ambush you and try and sell you paintball tickets, and a lot of things of that ilk, they don't. And I think it's getting in the way of small businesses, either Bath or nationally. That £300 fee is much, much higher than other universities. like, say they spend 100 quid on merch and want to bring it up, and they're like, oh, 3K. They'll just go to Spa or UWE or Bristol or something. Like, I really hate adverts. Like, I hate adverts. I haven't watched live TV since 2009. I hate them that much. But if they're giving you free stuff, doesn't matter, does it? That's my thoughts on it.
But like, do you understand how much revenue it brings into the Students' Union every year?
Well, in that case, let's not waive the fee. Let's just reduce it. Let's put in 200 quid. I'll do the maths on it. I'm a maths student. I'm sure it brings in a lot, but I'm sure there are a lot of companies who look at it and go, oh, 300 quid, and they've got much better options.
Okay, well, that brings us to the end of our questions for our presidential candidates. It's been an interesting session, that's for sure. And I would now like to thank the candidates and invite the activities candidates to the stage, please.